Okay. So a big thank you to all of you, because you're still there. And second, it's been 1 day and a half of very insightful vision. I'm sad because it's already the end. Maybe you're glad because you want to go back home. And I have a big challenge. I have to summarize so many input during 1 day and a half. But first of all, I would like you, together with me, to thank the team, the Clean Hydrogen Partnership team, who made that even possible and who is always there to support you and help you moving forward. So, can you stand up? Can you stand up? Please stand up so that people recognize you. Antonio, Mirella, Ines, Lelia. And of course, to Roland Berger, good luck, because you will have a hell of a job. So, starting with day one, I mean, it's a unique opportunity to have so many input and so many sessions which allow us to have different angles when it comes to hydrogen. And when we try to set the scene in the opening session, of course, we mentioned that we already had 21 valleys in 19 countries, 250 million euro funding. But bear in mind, that's just the beginning. That's not overs. Why? Because hydrogen ecosystem and hydrogen valley is a good base to integrate multi-sectoral demand. They strengthen the regional ecosystem, so they're the facilitator to make it happen. And regions and cities are part of it, and they have a strong will, and they express it to decarbonize hard-to-abate sectors and to drive sustainable growth. Then, after that, we looked at what we had already. And that's where the Clean Hydrogen Partnership already explained what was done in terms of how can we, together with our stakeholders, can drive innovation when it comes to hydrogen. So, of course, here again, we do need to continue. I mean, technology have matured, but we're not yet there. There are many areas in which we need to sustain our champions. We need to sustain the growth. We need to still be innovative because it's a global race. If we don't do it, others will do it for us. So that's why it was important to showcase how hydrogen ecosystems are building on the local benefits of hydrogen, and that it has already been created. We had the example of the region of Aragon, but we had many other examples during the 1 day and a half of the region doing it well. As I said, we did a lot, but we still have a lot to do. And that's where the Hydrogen Valley facility comes into the picture, because we do understand that in order to even increase the number of valleys, Hydrogen Valley calls are good, but it's not enough. So if we want to reach the 50 Hydrogen Valley by 2030, we need to have more candidates, we need to have more robust projects. So that's our responsibility as Clean Hydrogen Partnership, to help you to build this hydrogen ecosystem and hydrogen valley. So, more news to come. I think you heard there will be info session in the weeks to come in order to understand better what is the project development assistance, how can you connect to the Hydrogen Valley knowledge portal, and how you can be part of it. Today, that was the time, after having looking backward, to look backward, but also to look forward. And we started with lessons learned, because it's always good to say, okay, what did we good, what did we do wrong, and how can we maybe benefit from the best practices and the key output from the different valleys. So there are some common ground. Many valleys express that they have the same challenges. It's commercial offtake, regulatory problems, technical and governance issues. They have specificities, but more or less it's always the same topics that come back again and again. But they have also identified some solutions. The list is long. I mean, the list is not complete, but among the solutions being discussed, you have implementation of pragmatic, solution-oriented approach, need for regulatory action, need of simplification, need of acceleration zone, secure very early offtake, start with as many use cases as you can, start with small-scale deployment and deploy them fast. So already some ideas, food for thought, in order to be implemented in other valleys. One of the big issues that we tried to address was about permitting. And Mirella reminded you that that's one of the reasons why in our call 2025 we put something on a topic dedicated to the training of civil servants, because we need the people who are giving the permit to be knowledgeable and not to take, okay, I need to do all safety measure available, piling them up. No, we need to make it happen. And they have no benchmark. So we really need to make sure that we have good enough measure in place. So permitting is really an issue that needs to be addressed. It's complex, but there are necessary processes to make the project up and running and at a very fast pace. So here again, a solution were identified, such as establishing a single point of contact, simplified processes, fast-track permitting processes, coordination between authorities, etc. Permitting is something, but human resources are another one. And skilling, upskilling, reskilling are really priorities, because and the Iceland Valley mentioned it, if you don't have skilled people, I was amazed that when John said, I have a number of free people I can call if something is going wrong. That's definitely not enough if we want to scale it very fast. So we need to make sure that we anticipate and that we're skilling the people. The number is big, until 2030. Up to 1 million jobs will be created by the hydrogen value chain. So that means that at least the 1 million people need to be knowledgeable a little bit about hydrogen, because otherwise, we'll have created a market, we'll have business opportunities, but we won't have the people to operate it. And current priorities have been identified. You know that the Clean Hydrogen Partnership is funding a project in order to accelerate the skills of people, but we need to do faster when it comes to recruiting and upskilling existing workforce. And Hydrogen Academy will have a role to play, and we favor and welcome very much all the different initiatives in every member state in order to join forces. One of my key messages in the opening was offtake, offtake, offtake. And that was the discussion of the afternoon. But solutions were also identified. So DGNR presented, and that was an avant-première, as we said in French, the hydrogen mechanism that will be launched in July in order to do some matchmaking between supply and demand. So that's a very good thing, and I'm sure it will be very helpful. We went then to lead markets, starting with the industry, in order to see how we can scale a hydrogen ecosystem when it comes to industrial end use. And then several success factors were identified: transparent milestone, dependency planning, collaboration between hydrogen valleys, risk-taking, risk-sharing. Don't be risk-adverse. And then, so even if it's a little bit disconnected, I wouldn't have thought that as a top idea, top of mind right from the beginning when you come to industry. Involve the public. Involve having your governments on board the citizens. Because if you're building something new, don't be blocked because the citizens don't know what you're talking about and they see it as a risky rather than as an opportunity. Mobility. Sometimes we think that mobility is a given, it's always, it's already on its way, but for Hydrogen Valley, mobility is in many cases the first low-hanging fruit, because when you have vehicles, it's very easy to create the first step for offtake and then create a favorable ground for industries and more complex projects which need time to be built. And there again, we have seen many initiatives, many demonstrations, many examples from Valley, but there again, we need to address the sort of chicken and egg. I mean, we need infrastructure, but we need vehicles. So if everyone is waiting each other, I mean, nothing will happen. Huh? Remember when you have your first rendezvous? I mean, if you don't do the first step, nothing, you will never have get married or have found your spouse or your partner. I know it's a little bit a risky benchmark, but that's the way it happens. I mean, we need to talk to each other. We need to give visibility for the vehicle manufacturers to build a vehicle, but we also need to aggregate demand, and we also need to make sure that once everyone is ready to drive, I mean, the stations are there. So public support is needed for fundings. We need to join forces, don't work in silo, work with vehicle manufacturers, go together to see the customers, and then address the issues of logistics and infrastructure. Last part was about funding. It's always about money at the end. Huh? I mean, you have someone to pay for it, or you have to find the ways to fund it. And so Davide explained that we have already many funding sources. The ecosystem of hydrogen has moved a lot. Huh? A couple of years ago, you had only the fundings of a clean hydrogen GU. Today, you can combine it, and you can also go beyond the project that we initially funded with other sources of fundings. I have in mind many of them. The list is getting a bit long. But our money helps to initiate what is needed in order to have the first base of a project, and especially for the valley. It creates value and it helps mitigating a little bit the risk, but it's definitely not enough. It's doable, and the Convey project demonstrated that it's doable to combine fundings. It's not easy, but if you take it in the right order, in the right way, you can make it. There are also very innovative approach to incentivize financing, and H2 Global demonstrated brilliantly, but you need to stimulate at the same time the supply and demand. You need long-term agreements, you need predictability, certainty, and then in fact, the double auction mechanism is about matchmaking. It's also about how do we make sure that both parties are in it together. So there are some key learnings in order to solve the situation where you have worldwide 90% of a project. We are still not yet at FID stage, and we need to find ways, and it's sometimes, in many often cases, a question of money in order to make them sustainable. For the private investor, in fact, when you ask them the question, what is fundamental, it's not about the money that is available, it's to get clarity, and is to have good regulation and some good sense being implemented by the policy and by the regulators. Because if you have no clarity, if you have no transparency, if you have no visibility, money will not come. And when you know what to do, where to go, or when you know what to do, then you get your subsidy in some countries. So maybe we should find some ways, and Hydrogen Valley could be a good test bed for that, to find an easy way to make to combine fundings and make it happen. Some recommendations were made of have backup plans. Don't wait for one funding to come. Try multiple ways to have it, identify many options, many mechanisms, anticipate, because what is true is that money doesn't come easily. As a conclusion, I would like to say that we need to have a good pair of shoes, because we need to run fast, but we need to run on a very long distance. So it's both about a speed race, but also a marathon. So we need to be resilient. We need to collaborate. We need to take risk, moderately maybe, but we need to take risks, and we need to be solution-oriented. The magic we have is our capacity to make it happen together. We have this capacity to make it happen, and we're in it together. So I will make you 2 promises today. The first one is that I'm sure we will succeed, and you can count on the Clean Hydrogen Partnership team to help you to succeed. The second one is that next year we'll be here again together. And before I close this Hydrogen Valley event, I would like also to say there will be other events that I urge you to participate to. We will have the Innovation Forum during the European Hydrogen Week. It will take place on the 2nd of October and 3rd of October. The 3rd will be dedicated to startups. And then we reinitiate again this year in November 24 and 25. Yeah, 25 and 26, the innovation and research days when we go through the key features of all program reviews. Thank you very much. Thank you for still being here, and good trip back home.